Hi, this is Sherry Cheever, and as promised on my blog the other day, here's your tutorial on making dimensional flowers with watercolor paper. Now I have gone ahead, these are a couple that I made earlier today, and this is made with the Spellbinders Blossom 5, and this is from the Grand Peony. But what we're going to be working on for this video is the Blossom 5. And I also had a question about foliage, so we're going to make a leaf or two as well today. But first, the Blossom 5. You can use any circle, any of the Blossom dies. If you don't have a circle, you can actually just trace some different size glasses onto watercolor paper and cut them out. Anything that you have at hand you can use to make this flower. So for the sake of the video and time, I've already colored up and shaped some of the other layers, but I have die cut 2 of each different layer. Ran it through the grain caliber twice and with using watercolor paper. And like I said, these are already done, so what I will be doing is showing you just basically on the 2 larger ones. And I'm going to start with some dried marigold distress stain, and I'm going to cover these 2 pieces of watercolor paper, front and back, with the stain, just kind of slopping it around. And flip it over and do the back, which is very important. When you start shaping these, you don't want to see a little bit of white paper glaring out at you. It just looks more complete and finished if you do front and back. And I've got those sides done, and I'm going to now take fired brick distress stain and just go around the edges. Just kind of highlight the edges with it. I like to see some of my favorite flowers are two-tone. It's like a peach rose with like an orange just along the edges of the flower. Now I'm going to make a mist with Perfect Pearls and water. And I have got the Heirloom Gold Perfect Pearls here, and I'm just going to add a little bit into a mini mister, have a craft stick, and the Perfect Pearls. And we'll then add some water into my mini mister. Now if you want to color this, you can add some water-based ink at this point and add some color, but I'm just going to stay with the Perfect Pearls and water. And then I'm just going to mist. I've splattered, I see some Perfect Pearls on this, and we'll just kind of give it a little mist. And just enough to get some gold in there, get your paper wet. I actually want this to be a little bit more damp, so I'm going to mist it some more. And at this point, we are ready to start shaping our petal. The paper is pliable, as you can now see, and I can take it laying down. I just take 2 fingers and push towards the center, so you kind of have this. Take it out, turn it around, do the other way, and you can kind of keep shaping towards the center, and when you get to the center you'll have like a little raised area. I typically pick that up, grab it between 2 fingers and pinch, give it a little twist, so that it just kind of makes the flower have all these different little raised areas. So, and you can do the same, all of them the same way. All the different layers are done the same way. As you can see, and just kind of shape it and go. And all right, now it is very important at this point that these be dry front and back. So I'm going to dry them a little bit, and what I think we'll do, actually, I'm just going to dry them just a tad bit front and back. You want to make sure that when you do this, you've got all this bunch of paper up in here, where in that knot on the top, and you want to make sure that's good and dry. But I think what we'll do at this point is just set these aside, and let's go ahead and work on our leaves. You're going to do them basically the same way. And I've die cut a piece of foliage from watercolor paper, and then one of the leaves from the Grand Peony set. And sometimes I like my, leaves in nature never are just one solid color. So I've got some vintage photo distress stain that I'm just going to go over the leaves front and back with. We'll flip them back to the front. Notice I didn't get them all, that's okay. And then I'm going to add some peeled paint over the vintage photo. Just kind of splatter it here and there. I'm even going to get the back of that one. I left some white there. I'll do the back of these very good with that one because I'm going to come in then with some forest moss distress stain. And I'm just going to highlight just little sections, just kind of a dab here or there, just to give it some variation. And with the same perfect pearl and water mixture, I'm going to mist these just to get that ink to run a little and to put some highlights in with the gold. And the pellets, it helps make my paper damper and more pliable. Then, just on this single leaf, what I like to do is I will take it and I will pinch the end as such, and then just give it a push in. And you can keep playing with it till you get it to your desired look. I kind of like a messy look. And we're going to set that off to dry. Same way with the little leaves here. Now this paper is still a little wet and it tore apart on me. So it is important that this paper, because it is so fine, be a little drier than damp per se. But just pinch your leaves and scrunch them, just to give them some texture and dimension. And same way with the little one. I'm just going to hold it up, pinch it, and do some scrunching, and set it up to dry. Just fun to sit and play with the damp watercolor paper. As long as it's damp, it rolls, it kind of separates to give you a more shabby look. You can take it, just roll the ends. But just different ways that you can scrunch up those leaves. And the watercolor paper, because it soaks through the entire paper, the color does, but it's also very pliable when damp. And I'm going to go ahead and dry these two larger pieces now for the flower. Dry them totally, and we'll assemble as soon as they're dry. I have a glue gun going over here on the side, heating up for us already. And you can see now on the front, you can see all the texture of the gold and how the perfect pearls, and where you've picked it up, it's left ridges in the paper and left a lot of great texture into the flower petals themselves. Plus that perfect pearl, the shimmer is just absolutely gorgeous. And you can use any type of shimmer spray that you like. You know, coloring these is your choice. And that's what makes them so much fun. I use so much gold anymore to outline my work that I've just grown accustomed to reaching for my gold perfect pearls. And actually I keep them out on my desk at all times now. So this is good. This is dry. And to assemble these now, my glue gun's hot. And I'm going to add an extra stick of glue. And we're just going to add some hot glue onto the back of the layer of the flower. And we'll kind of center it, off-center the petals here, and just lay that down and give it a press into the middle. You can pull away the strands of hot glue as you go. And as this builds, now for the watercolor paper, I'm only using 2 layers. Sometimes if I use direct like designer paper, I'll use 3 because it's thinner. But this watercolor paper is so thick that it just makes such a huge flower, and you don't necessarily need something that big. You could actually only do this with 1 layer. I like to build and layer, and love the different effects that I get with it. So I'm just adding more layers by adding hot glue to the back and then just placing it into the center and building that up. can see it's starting to take some good shape with all the different layers. And while that hot glue is still a little wet, you can wiggle them around to center them more, but you know, be careful and don't burn yourself. I'm good about that. Now the two smallest dies are very tiny, and I just scrunched one up into a little ball and then folded the other, and I'm going to add just a little bit of hot glue in the one and insert it, the middle layer, and just kind of fold that up around it, and it'll hold. And then I'm just going to add just a dab of glue here, don't want to burn myself, into the center. And now that we have all these glued together, and to get more shape now, what I like to do, and because it is watercolor paper and we can get it wet again, so I'm going to mist it just a little more. And this will enable us to get this paper soft, and we can start folding the paper up around the center. And you can kind of curl the edges and scrunch them up, and just keep shaping them as you see fit. Just kind of roll it and scrunch it. I'm kind of caught here, doesn't want to come up, so I'm just going to scrunch it in there. And I missed a little more down here. And at that, the perfect pearls are really gathering into the creases now, into the paper, and making such a lovely effect. So as I continue to fold and curl, and we're giving this flower more shape, and the paper is starting to separate a little, which I like because of the it just makes it more shabby. So I think that's pretty good where I've got it. You can see the edges are curled up, and that's why I said go ahead and color the back side of your paper, because you never know how that edge is going to come up when you're working on these. Each blossom takes the shape of their own. And once you have it shaped to how you want it, you can take your heat gun again and just kind of hit it. And I actually even catch myself using my thumb to curl more as they're drying and giving it a little more shape. But you can use your heat gun to dry the paper, and once it becomes hard and setting into place. So I think that's it for this blossom. We've got our leaves. They're still drying, but we can show you as I'm setting them out here. Put this one back together, and it all comes together. And I thank you for joining me today. I will show you the rose in another video. Running out of time for this one. And I hope you'll try this. And if you do make some watercolor paper flowers, send me an email. Send me a link. I'd love to see what you make. It tickles me when I've been able to inspire you to create a project of your own, and then you send me a link to look at it. It really does make my heart sing to see what you all are doing. So thank you, and until next time.